everybody, and thank you for coming. In the UK, we have lived with BSL for 22 years. 22 years of dogs being killed for no other reason than fitting a set of characteristics. 22 years of families being devastated by the seizure and all too often the killing of their beloved companions. BSL does not work. It does not protect our children, our families or friends. It does not protect our innocent, loving family pets. We are calling for breed-specific legislation to be replaced by a workable law which concentrates on responsible ownership, education, training and the tightening of breeding. Everyone has the right to own a dog, but not everyone deserves to have a dog. People are not educated on how to treat animals with the respect and care they deserve. Many have never been given the opportunity to reach their full potential as a well-balanced dog, and sadly we too often see the results of backyard breeders and puppy farms. No dog is aggressive just because of how it looks. A dog will only become aggressive by the hands of a bad owner, and these bad owners are the ones which the law should be concentrating on and punishing. Today we join together around the world to stand as one against a barbaric law which has spread like a virus and killed so many innocent souls. I am proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with the wonderful people who have made today possible. We will keep on fighting until BSL is repealed in every country that it affects. Together we can and will make the change. We will fight for their right to life.
Right, we're going to be reading some speeches that the other countries have sent us. I've got greetings from Germany. Hi everybody, my name is Alexandra and I'm the host of the German anti-BSL protest which takes place in Cologne today. BSL has affected Germany since the year 2000. Following the tragically fatal dog bite attack of a young boy in Hamburg in 2000, the German government increased BSL against certain breeds. Dogs are on a list and the dog owners are punished with high taxes of up to €1,000 per so-called dangerous dog. Even if the dogs have been tested in an assessment centre by the local authorities of being not dangerous and they will behave well, they are still discriminated against. BSL varies in the 16 German federal lands, but today there is just one federal land where our dogs aren't listed or discriminated. It is forbidden to breed them and to import them into Germany. Local shelters are crowded with stappies, pitties, rotties, etc. Now a discussion starts in Germany to euthanise these dogs, which are innocent and haven't done anything wrong, just to be one of the listed breeds in the shelters. We will raise our voice each and every day to fight against BSL. Our dogs are fighters, yes, but they only fight against BSL, and they only fight for their right to live. Let's stay together as one to remember Lennox and all the other BSL victims and to prevent others from becoming BSL victims. I am proud to be part of the event in Cologne, Germany today. We will rock and stand up against BSL.
Greetings from Australia. My name is Joycey and I'm the Australian host for this global simultaneous protest. BSL varies in the states of Australia, with the worst state being Victoria, where I live. Following the tragically fatal dog bite attack of a young girl in Victoria, the Australian government increased BSL against certain breeds. The animal control officers who are asked to enforce these laws have no more than a day course in both breed identification and temperament testing. And we say that this is not only insufficient, but also inappropriate in preventing dog bites in the community. In Australia, we seek to obtain a model such as in Calgary, where new dog owners are encouraged to attend dog schools. We also seek mandatory desexing, microchipping and registration of all dogs, with the funds from these going to education in schools to teach children on how to approach and manage dogs appropriately. In Australia, we lobby our local politicians to fight BSL. I think that together globally we can bring this terrible legislation to its end.
From Denmark. Hi, we are Henriette and Lasse. We are the hosts from Denmark. Here are 13 breeds banned and the danger of 12 more coming onto the list. Unfortunately, not all Danes who have figured out how the law works. It's put together at home. Due to the reversal of the burden of proof, who killed a great many dogs, but there are not many who hear about it. We are struggling to tell the Danes about how the law can hit them unless they have a dog with a valid pedigree. Many don't believe it. It's only when it happens to them. Fortunately, we have Lars, a cop who could not continue to look while innocent dogs were euthanised. He made many aware of the law and how grim it is. We fully agree that BSL must be put away with knowledge of dogs and responsible owners and without racial discrimination.
Greetings from Canada. Our names are Zelda Nista and Debbie Black of Ontario. Canada has several different approaches to laws regarding animal legislation. We can be both proud of our country's enlightened attitude and intelligent and compassionate laws, and deeply ashamed at the same time. It depends which jurisdiction one lives in. Sadly, the admins of our group all live in Ontario, which is the largest jurisdiction in the world to adopt breed-specific legislation. This legislation was enacted in spite of a shining Canadian example of progressive and thoughtful legislation that exists in the city of Calgary, which is in the province of Alberta. Calgary's animal bylaws focus on education, services, responsible ownership and helping those less responsible or less educated to rehabilitate themselves. There are no breed-specific laws there whatsoever. They provide education programs, infrastructure, low-cost spay and neuter, which cost taxpayers nothing. There is a hugely successful licensing component which pays for the outstanding services. It is not expensive to license your pet, but compliance is over 90%. This is the model that those of us who fight breed-specific legislation in Ontario point to as a correct alternative. Throughout Canada, the debate regarding BSL rages on, rears its head in smaller cities and towns frequently. In some places, advocates are successful in educating the lawmakers, and in others, not. It's an ongoing battle, but we feel we are winning it. The battle in Ontario must be successful in order to influence the smaller jurisdictions across the country who look to Ontario's ban as a way of solving perceived problems, which, as we all know, it does not. Both admins have been fighting this ban since its inception and fully intend to be there when it is finally gone. We would like to give our heartfelt thanks to the organisers of this global peaceful protest and are absolutely thrilled to be participating.
Right, this is from Caitlin Stocker on behalf of the USA. And please bear in mind that the laws in the USA are slightly different. This has to stop, and that's why we are speaking up around the world today, to remind our community leaders and law enforcement officials of a basic fact. Remember where your paycheck comes from. We don't pay them to create laws that allow the authorities to invade our homes and take our innocent pets. We don't pay them to launch a witch hunt under the umbrella of a disgraceful failure of a dog-killing legislation. We're also here to bring a certain word back from the dead, logic. We have to demand compulsory neutering, spaying, obedience, socialisation training for all dogs, tougher laws to punish backyard breeders, willfully irresponsible dog owners and dog-fighting cowards. Let's have educational programmes so that well-meaning but inexperienced people can adopt death row dogs without running the risk of ending up on the gory news reports because they weren't educated on responsible dog ownership. I'm sure many of us here would gladly take the time to tell everyone about the dangers of leaving dogs around children, strangers and other pets without proper supervision. Tragedies happen, not because the dogs like to turn into monsters and eat half a city's population for fun, but because a playful bite can result in serious to fatal injuries. The pro-BSL factions love quoting statistics, most of which are false and the rest are woefully incorrect. Here are some official statistics. According to the US Centre for Disease Control's latest published report, 2010, drowning is this nation's leading cause of death for children aged between 1 and 4. Should we outlaw swimming pools, drain creek beds, put armed guards to block kids from getting too close to rivers and the sea? Or do we implement safety education, parental guardian responsibility? It's water. Water's not a babysitter. It may work for free, but it can also be the worst babysitter applies to family pets, and institute the compulsory use of childproof fences around pools. Even the CDC admitted that their damning pit bull attack statistics come mostly from media reports and incomplete police reports. In other words, these reports were not properly investigated. We're not saying all BSL targeted dogs are angels who are incapable of harming anyone. They are, like all of us, a product of their environment. But unlike humans, dogs can be rehabilitated with a high degree of reliability. It just takes a little effort and common sense. Show the world how wonderful these animals can be, and if anyone thinks this intrusion of privacy only affects responsible dog owners and their innocent dogs, they're in for a very nasty surprise, because that's what state-sanctioned ignorance does. It kills our freedom. We are deeply sorry to see cases where people and pets are harmed and even killed by anyone, dogs included. But letting our pets get banned, confiscated and killed simply because of their looks will only turn all of us into puppets, dreading the next deranged piece of idiotic legislation. We can do better without compromising public safety. All we need is a chance. And the final one is from Kirsty Moore in Scotland. Breed-specific legislation is an ineffective way of dealing with and battling irresponsible dog ownership. Under BSL, there are 4 breeds of dog banned from the UK: American Pit Bull Terrier, Japanese Tosa, Fila Brasileiro and the Dogo Argentino. In 1991, the Dangerous Dogs Act, including BSL, was rushed through Parliament after a series of attacks, and one particularly serious attack on a child by American Pit Bull Terriers or bull breeds. The hastily applied act since then has not reduced the recorded number of dog strike statistics. They have in fact increased since then. BSL costs the taxpayers millions of pounds every year with lengthy court battles, etc., when they have taken a perfectly balanced dog from responsible owners who may not have even known about the law and who fight to keep their family pet. These are not the kind of people that should be targeted, yet with the law in the current state they will continue to be until something is changed. Many countries have already repealed breed-specific legislation, including the Netherlands, Italy and several states in the USA, to name a few, due to its ineffectiveness, and have had vast improvements on statistics due to focusing solely on irresponsible ownership and out. Scotland and indeed the whole of the UK need to listen to the lessons of others and repeal breed-specific legislation and stop the hundreds, even thousands of dogs' deaths and millions of pounds wasted every year.
In May 1990, I got what seemed to be my dream job. I became an animal welfare officer for the London Borough of Lewisham, a position where I believed I could really make a difference in helping animals in need. But in 1991, just a year later, in creating the Dangerous Dogs Act, the government turned my dream job into a dreadful nightmare. Overnight, I went from rescuing tortured and abused animals and finding them worthy homes to being required to put healthy, innocent dogs to sleep. I suddenly found that these people had decided that I was now responsible for seizing dogs that had frequently never harmed or even threatened to harm anyone, and take them to a vet to be destroyed. Litters of puppies, often just a few weeks old, that hadn't yet even had a chance at life, were now doomed to die just for being born to the wrong parents. I wonder if those vile politicians would have been as quick to pass such a law if they were the ones who had to hold those puppies as they were being killed, as I had to. It was without doubt the most horrible thing I had to do within my time carrying out that job, and I'm not ashamed to say I cried absolute buckets every time I had to do it. Then as I started doing legal cases where I was required to assess the public, too many times I found that dogs were being found guilty even though my assessment had concluded that they were not. And it became clear that they were sometimes being ordered destroyed so that examples could be made, disregarding that in the process an innocent life was being taken. This law is, simply put, government-supported racism. It allows those with powers to discriminate against those who don't, simply because they don't like the way that they look. It disregards breeds that have bitten far more people than those named by the Act, so that it can punish people who commit acts against the police through the use of their dogs by taking the dogs out of the picture. But this Act sees innocent, responsible dog owners as little more than collateral blinkered that it cannot see that the best they could realistically achieve is to get criminal types simply to move to a different breed. But presumably that breed will then be added to the list so that even more innocent dogs can be killed. This has to stop. The Dangerous Dogs Act now needs to be scrapped. A new act needs to be written that punishes the guilty, as I was under the impression that in this country you are innocent until proven guilty, and that discrimination based on appearance was illegal. I look forward to the day when the government accepts that they are not above the laws that they themselves create.
I'm going to have to wing it, I think. What I'd like to talk today is about change. Change for me personally began quite a few years ago as a result from a heroin addiction. It took me many, many years to get over that addiction. The thing is, change comes from the individual. It comes from inside. As it comes from the individual, it passes on to the next person, and then on into society, and then on to a national level, and then on to international level. And before you know it, fairy dust is spread. The world's a better place. Dogs aren't being seized. The other problem is that I took these choices. Dogs didn't. There's innocent dogs out there being victimised by the way they look, and people aren't giving them the chance to change. We're not giving people the chance to change. If people want to, we can go about and we can be the best dog people we can, but that's only going to reach about 50% of the general public. What I ask people to do is not only be a good dog owner, but be a good person who has a dog. Now, there's lots of individuals out there that come up on the newsfeed every single day. I wish you could all see them, because change is happening. It is happening. It's out there. And one person... Come here. Now, this lady epitomises everything I'm about. She's an individual. She works her socks on for the dogs that she loves. Everyone does this. She's such a fantastic person that she inspires everyone with her work. So Nikki, today, on behalf of all the staffies, and everybody here, and every dog in the land, because I have the power and I'm the fairy dog mother, I'm going to canonise you, Saint Nicky, the patron saint. And thank you every single one of you. You're going to make this change happen. It comes from all of you. It's from every single one of you. You can make it happen. Go out there and have it.
Hello, I'm Jordan Shelley. I'm a dog trainer, and I'm also part of the responsible majority of bull breed owners. There's many of us out there. Not everyone's irresponsible as everyone seems to think. Current legislation does has failed because there's no power of seizure. The transfers of dogs to someone else prior to court hearing can happen, and the court has no power to require the owner to pay compensation. The Dangerous Dogs Act of 91 and the Amendment of 97 have also failed. They only apply after an incident, and they don't solve the problem before it happened, okay? The problem is we can't go about saying that dogs are dangerous based on the way they look. That's it's something that's completely irresponsible. Not only does it alienate some of the dogs that are dangerous, and we don't look at them. We don't look at them because they're a different breed, so they kind of become irrelevant. Okay. The other thing it wasted on taking innocent dogs into police kennels, and then they're either typed or not and returned. It's a waste. We should be concentrating on control, making sure that we get irresponsible breeding under control, making sure that we get irresponsible ownership under control. That's the only way we're going to move forward on this issue. It would be great if we could follow a model along the lines of Sweden. I don't know whether any of you have been to Sweden before, but in Sweden their rescue centres are empty. There's not a dog in sight in their rescue centres. In fact, they import them from abroad. That's the absurd situation we find ourselves in here, where our rescue centres are a system where dog owners are held responsible, and the dogs that are doing the bad deeds are held responsible, and everybody else, as is law in this country, is proven innocent until guilty. The most important thing is it's deed, not breed. That's it. Thank you.
Maria and Sean from DDO Watch. We'd like to tell you about a little dog here, Fudge, today, who sadly is no longer with us. I'm about to read for a young dog called Fudge, who was killed in Merseyside in April of this year because of the way he looked. BSL does not target the dangerous or the irresponsible. It simply targets the look, the size and the shape of the dog. Fudge was owned by a mature lady, and he was her companion and best friend. They used to watch TV together, and they never had a day apart until Fudge was seized and removed from his home. Fudge would never go back to the lady who loved and cared for him. He would never see his mum again or feel her hugs and love. And his mum is left devastated and heartbroken. This is for you. Today would be your last day as the kennel girl brought food. You trusted those who caged you because trust is what you do. Today they would betray you in a court so far away, where faceless, nameless humans would insist that you must pay. For all the failings of legislation and the unfairness of the law, they would take it out on you now and lay the blame upon your paws. Today you would still be friendly and willingly give your all to anyone who would hurt you. That's what dogs like you are for. You are here to show us happiness. There is no sorrow in your way. You give all when all is hopeless until the final fateful day. Be forgiving to those who steal your joy. To stay close to the angels when the path is dark and cold. For you are sweet and blameless, though they tried to take your soul. Today they took you from us, yet your life had just begun. A year of peace and solace, a year of love with Mum. We go on, for it's not over. We go on until no more. We'll languish in cruel silence behind the prison door. We go on to bring you justice and to right the many wrongs, to carry the weight of sufferance for the ones that once belonged. Today we will remember, for none can just forget, the broken fought the hands of time. Tomorrow they shall know your name and feel the wrath of blame. Rest easy, gentle, precious soul. This was not your war to win. We keep you close and safe and loved until all are gathered in. For Fudge and Sandra. Thank you.
When am I coming home? The first thank you goes not to a person, not even a living being. It goes to Lennox, a dog from Belfast seized under BSL, whose fight for life endures 2 years locked away from his family. A family who never gave up, and through sharing his story, amassed people from around the world to stand up and say no to BSL. Through fighting for Lennox, and it was a fight fought so hard by so many here today, a legacy was born, a legacy that will continue to draw in more people, so our voices will get louder for Lennox and all the dogs lost to the hell of BSL. We will never, ever give up. So we've heard some wonderful speeches for some busy people. And Jordan, great to have you here again. Thank you to all the folk at DDA Watch, Sean, Ali, Maria. We really appreciate you guys. You work tirelessly and the world really is a better place with you. Anyone not linked up to DDA Watch, please check out their Facebook page. Your support is needed to continue saving dogs affected by BSL. A few more names to throw around. A huge thanks to Caroline Murphy, fantastic at coordinating this as a global event. The pictures coming in from Australia I've seen today, I'm sure a reflection. This has not held you back. Well done, that woman. A big thank you to Carol and the Canine Crusaders. Travelling from Manchester is a feat in itself. Having you guys here is really looking BSL right in the eye. Love having Cobalt and Sapphire, ambassadors for their breed, raising real awareness. Love them. Shauna, you've had your moment of glory, mate, so it's short and sweet for you. You're awesome. Thank you. A thank you to someone else missing today, and that's Ange Manners, who's done a hell of a lot of legwork in setting up the previous protest, leading the way for this event. Thank you for looking down on us all. Hope we're doing you proud. Anne Lane, she's a quiet little worker, but this woman don't half put the work in, and thanks go to her, especially for inviting our guest speakers here today. Big thanks, Anne. It really is a small selection of names because so many people have played so many important roles. I hope you all just accept a massive general thank you for promoting this event, attending this event and continuing the fight against BSL. Without your support this couldn't happen or continue to happen. Thank you for coming, and until next time.